Very good morning, everyone. My name is Eddie. I'm the VP of Sales at Nexusguard. I've got my colleague here, Stephen Joshua, who's here from our pre-sales team as well, here to support us. Over to you, Sharif.
Yes, السلام عليكم. أهلا وسهلا بكم في الويبينار نكسس جارد. أنا بتكلم بالعربي في الأول بس علشان يبقى الكلام مفهوم للكل، ولو في أي استفسارات أو أي أسئلة يا ريت ممكن تتكتب بالإنجليزي أو بالعربي. Thank you very much for attending. I'm Sharif El-Fayumi, the Vice President of Grand Technology. Grand Technology is one of the oldest partners in IT, telecom, and digital transformation in Yemen. We know all of you. We have been doing business for quite some time. And it is our pleasure today to have this joint webinar with Nexusguard. Nexusguard is a world leader in DDoS protection and security. And as you know, everything is digital now. And we will show you what part of this security is important and vital for you. Please feel free to discuss anything with us in the Q&A whenever you want. It will be answered. And have a good webinar. Back to you, Eddie.
Thank you very much, Sharif. So I think I'm going to start off by giving you just the agenda for today. So we're going to focus on DDoS trends. Okay, we're going to focus on an introduction on Nexusguard, where I'm going to give you a bit of a deep dive on who we are. Then we're going to talk about DDoS attack trends that we've seen within the marketplace. We're going to touch on some layer 3 and 4 bits and pieces attacks and some layer 7 attacks as well. Then we're going to speak to some of the recommendations that we have, obviously working with different ISPs and CSPs on a global scale. We've seen quite a lot, and hopefully some of our knowledge can be beneficial for you. After that will be a Q&A session. I've got my pre-sales here, so if you've got any particular technical questions that you may have, please feel free to ask during that particular moment. If you feel as if you've got any questions throughout the session, please don't hesitate but to jot them down, and then we'll address them at the Q&A session. Okay, so just to give a bit of a background on Nexusguard. So Nexusguard is a Singapore-based business. So our headquarters are in Singapore. We obviously have global operations. So we've got a team that sits here in Africa with myself. We also have another team that sits in America. We have a team that sits in different parts of Asia as well. But we have a number of partners, SIs and ISPs as well that we work with on a global scale. We've been in the space for just over 15 years, and throughout this period, we've built about 34 global scrubbing centers. We also have a scrubbing capacity of about 2.2 terabytes. That's the capacity that we have for DDoS attacks. We have 2 security operation centers that operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're also PCI compliant and ISO certified, which is obviously a prerequisite within our industry. We've been fortunate enough to be, awarded some awards by big international names like Forrester and Sutherland and Forrester. The likes of CyberSec Asia has named us as the best DDoS defense company for 3 consecutive years. So that's 2021, 2022, and 2023. The likes of Gartner and Quadrant have also mentioned us, and IWS named us as a Rising Star Partner of the year of 2022. So this just speaks to the credibility of our business and some of the good work that we're being recognized for. Now, when you look at our global scrubbing network, so like I said earlier, we've got 34 POPs, and these POPs are a mix of POPs that belong to us and POPs that we have with different partners. So we have 10 Nexusguard POPs, so the orange icons that you can see spread across, the dark orange ones, those are POPs that belong to Nexusguard. So we've got 4 that are in the States, we have 2 that are in Europe, and a further 4 that are in Asia. And the reason why we've actually distributed our network like this is because our focus is for us to be able to mitigate against attacks as close to the source as possible. So if you are one of our customers and you're based in Yemen and an attack is originating from America or from Asia, what we look to do with our connected network is to mitigate that particular attack before it actually hits the borders of your country. The other 16 POPs are for similar companies to yourselves, ISPs, CSPs, data centers. So these are physical on-prem devices that have been installed in their network. And what these give them is a local scrubbing center that allows for them to be able to mitigate against attacks locally, which reduces latency. It also helps in terms of getting ticking things like data sovereignty. So if you've got particular customers, like government customers that have an expectation for their traffic not to go outside the borders of Yemen, this is an opportunity for you to be able to have a local scrubbing center that's able to tick all of those boxes. We have a further 8 POPs that are up and coming as well. This is, as of May 15, I think we've got probably another 5 or 6 that are coming up. So obviously we're looking to grow within the Africa and the Middle Eastern region. So, this is pretty much, an area where there's a big opportunity for you guys to be able to protect yourself and also take it a step further in actually selling services to some of your customers. Now, just to give you just a bit of a helicopter view of, our 2 sections of our business. So our business is broken down into 2 different sides, right? We have the managed protection side, which is basically us simplifying DDoS for ISPs. It comes from a managed perspective in that we've got a SOC and a team that supports you. So we don't just give you hardware and leave you to, to your own devices. We do a lot of hand holding in terms of helping to make sure that your service is up and running all the time. So from a cloud perspective, you're able to have 24/7 monitoring. Our cloud is able to offer layer 3 all the way up until 7 protection. We have things like auto diversion and, it's a fully managed service. Obviously, I'm not really going to go into any deep detail on, some of the technical know-hows. We can always schedule individual sessions for us to do a bit of a deep dive on all the different facets of the cloud. So with the hybrid perspective, it's basically you getting the best of both worlds, right? So you've got an on-prem appliance that allows for you to be able to mitigate against attacks locally. Then you have the global offload, which is the cloud as well. So, we all know that there's limitations when it comes to on-prem devices, right? Those limitations could either be the scrubbing capacity of the box, or it could be the size of your particular network. With us, we have 2 specific boxes that we offer, which I'll take you through in the next slide. And obviously those would do well, obviously, with an offload, which is the reason why we've partnered it up with the cloud offload as well. This allows for you to have unlimited attacks because the approach is that, if let's say your particular box gets to its particular threshold, or if you have a predetermined threshold that you set. So if it's a 100G box, you can have a predetermined threshold that says, when it gets to any attacks above 50G, it gets pushed to the cloud, right? So this allows for you to have unlimited attacks and gives you global DDoS mitigation, access to our global mitigation network, which is the 10 POPs. And a box being present within your network allows for you to have the lowest latency as well. So on this side, you've protected your network, you're up and running, you're very secure, but there's more. So we've got a partner productization side, and this is for ISPs that desire to actually sell managed DDoS services to their customers. So there's a lot of tenders that come up. There's a lot of opportunities that come up within government and e-commerce website type of customers. And you being the providers for the internet, it gives you a great opportunity for you to have a value-added service that you can actually add over and above the connectivity that you're offering them. So you've got 2 different options. The first being a cloud partner. So basically with this, there is no hardware requirement. Within 15 days, you're able to actually deploy the service. You'll have a co-branded multi-tenant portal. And this is basically you reselling from our 10 global POPs, right? So this isn't being delivered from Yemen. This is being delivered from the 10 POPs that are across the globe. And this allows you to resell DDoS services and things like WAF protection. So that's the first flavor of productization that we offer. The next is a full-on partnership. So, with us, we don't normally have a vendor-client type of relationship. We look at it as a partnership. It's a win-win situation where we would come in with the hardware. We would train up your staff for them to be able to sell the service. So your sales guys will be taken through intensive training so that they're able to sell the service. Your pre-sales are also able to support the service through training as well, and the certification that can be made available to them as well, depending on how far they want to go. So basically, you've got a full go-to-market strategy that you've been given with obviously the years of experience that we've had in multiple countries, and you have a box that's able to offer multiple services to these customers, which I'll take you through along the way when I go through the presentation. Now, looking at our hardware, so we've obviously tested different types of hardware, and what we found is that the Dell MX7000 and the R650 are the ones that work the best. They've got the redundancy that we need. So if you are going to go down the road of an on-prem device, it's one of these. We don't offer any virtual hardware, or we don't work off any other bits of hardware except for these two, and it's because these are the ones that we've seen that work the best for us. So there's the MX7000, which has a scrubbing capacity of between 100 to 200 gig. So this is for the larger ISPs, who want to have a full suite of services that they can also offer to their customers or use for their own protection as well. And then the R650, this is a smaller box that has a scrubbing capacity of between 20 to 40 gig. And this is suitable for your smaller ISPs that have a smaller network. Or if, let's say, you want to have satellite pops in different locations, and you want to have some level of protection there with an on-prem device. So this is where the R650 comes in. Now, looking at our service deck, so we've got 4 different services. So there's application protection, there's origin protection, there's DNS, and there's clean pipe. All of these 4 are available from the appliance, which is the MX7000. From a cloud perspective, the application protection, origin protection, and DNS protection is what's available from the cloud. So with clean pipe, you would need to have either one of the boxes for you to be able to offer this to your customers. So looking at it in a little bit more detail, so one of the unique selling points for Nexusguard is that we're able to offer you layer 3, 4, all the way up until 7 protection, all with a single box. So unlike other service providers where you need to have, different providers that are offering you different types of hardware, and there's scalability issues or integration issues, with Nexusguard, with the one MX7000, which is the bigger box, you're able to offer all 4 services to your customers and to utilize them yourselves. With the R650, which is a smaller box, you're only able to offer clean pipe and origin protection. And with the cloud, you're able to offer application protection, origin protection, and DNS protection. So clean pipe is strictly for an on-prem appliance. Now, application protection, this is a service that customers like your e-commerce website type of customers will utilize. Your government websites, those are the types of customers you would target with application protection. It's a reverse proxy offering, offers an always-on service, so it's always monitoring. There's also a WAF and caching that's also involved, and load balancing that's also involved with that application protection as well. And then origin protection, this is a service for your off-net customers. So customers that are outside of your network, you're able to actually get revenue from them. So if you've got a customer that's subscribed to a link from your competitor, you're actually able to protect that particular line against DDoS, which obviously would increase your bottom line. Origin protection is a BGP swing offering. The customer needs to have their own Class C or AS number. The way that it works is through NetFlow information that's collected from the customer's border router. Once all of this NetFlow information is collected, there's baselining and profiling that we do. So it takes about a week to 2 weeks for us to have a better understanding of the network. And once that's actually understood, we have an AI component to our solution where if an attack is actually picked up, we would reroute that traffic to the closest point of presence, which could either be your particular box that's sitting within that particular network, or it could be any one of the 10 global POPs that I showed you in the earlier slide. Once all of this is the attack traffic has been mitigated, the clean traffic gets sent back via a secure GRE tunnel back to the customer's network or back to your network. So that's origin protection. With clean pipe protection, this is for your DIA customers, your direct internet access customers. So this is a value add. This is for customers that have internet with you. that are looking to have an extra layer of protection. So with Clean Pipe, you're able to add, normally it's about 20 to 30% extra on the subscription amount. And this would help in terms of cleaning the traffic for that particular direct internet access link that you're providing them. And then DNS protection, as the name suggests, is protection of your DNS servers. So that's a protection that's there to protect all of your DNS servers. I'm going to move on now to some DDoS trends. So what we have seen, is that attacks over the next 10 years are going to get bigger. They're going to get longer, and they're going to get more complex. And one of the main reasons for this is because of 5G, right? Over the last 10 years, between 2012 and 2022, what we've seen is that the size of attacks has been 300 times bigger. The duration of attacks has been 60 times longer, and the sophistication is also 5 times more complex. So as more and more people are utilizing the internet through IoT devices, computers or whatever it may be, cyber criminals are getting cleverer, and they're finding more and more ways to be able to mitigate, to be able to attack certain customers. And with our global intel, we're able to always give you up-to-date protection when it comes to DDoS. Now, as a provider, every year and every quarter, we always release attack trends. So if you look at 2022 attack trends, you can see that the total number of attacks went up by 115%. And this is year on year. The 3 main type of attacks, or the top 3 attack types that we saw, were NTP amplification attacks that went up by 2%. We had mem cache attacks also that went up by 28%, and UDP attacks that went up by 72%. So you can see that the criminals or the cyber criminals are becoming more and more optimistic. They're getting a lot more and more success from their attacks, and the attacks are only growing. A lot of the times, places like Africa and the Middle East were never really, targeted. But because of the faster internet, we're seeing a growing demand for DDoS protection, because a lot of ISPs are being brought down and a lot of customers are actually going down. Now, if you look at the cost implications of a DDoS attack, you can, lose up to $50,000 or whatever it may be, just because of lack of being able to be on the internet. So when you look at the pros and the cons, sometimes it's better for you to be prepared for any potential attack that comes in the future, just to kind of safeguard your customer base and to safeguard your reputation as well, because if you go down, your reputation gets affected. Now, looking at some of the attack categories, there was a big rise from volumetric attacks, especially the amplification ones. Direct flood attacks also went down a bit, and application attacks are the ones that really went up, quite a large percentage. What we've seen is the maximum size of attack that went was about 361 gig. The average was in and around half a gig. So this actually went down from the previous trends that we published. Now I'm going to talk about bits and pieces attacks, and these are also known as carpet bombing attacks. So what we used to see historically in the past is that a lot of these bits and pieces attacks would target one particular IP. And what we've seen is now it's multiple IP addresses that are being targeted. And it's these attacks are mimicking legitimate traffic, and they're so small that it becomes quite a challenge for you to be able to mitigate against it. If you look at the aggregated size for all of these attacks, they're fairly large, but they're spreading them across your whole IP range and making it very difficult for you to be able to detect these particular type of attacks. So what we've seen is that in the past, you would get between 1 to 3 IP addresses that are affected. But that number has really gone up quite a fair bit and gone from between 49 to 252 IP addresses, which makes it extremely difficult for you to also be able to manage that particular attack. These attacks also, or this traffic jumps from IP to IP, and it's over a shorter period now. So, where you would see the attacks, being on a particular IP for a longer duration, giving you an opportunity to detect and to mitigate, it becomes extremely difficult where, you're trying to do black holing or any other traditional methods to mitigate against these attacks. And these attacks are moving from one IP to the other, right? We've also seen that the size also has gone to a much smaller size as well. So, it really mimics clean traffic or legitimate traffic, which makes it very difficult for you to be able to mitigate against these particular attacks. Now, on a layer 7 perspective, we've seen like there's a number of attacks that we're seeing that are quite common. So there's the SQL injection attack, which really, its main aim is to attempt to steal confidential company data, right? So things like private client information, database, customer lists from your database, and this is all using malicious SQL codes, right? We found that the solution from our WAF solution is able to detect and to block a lot of these attacks. And I'll show you a little bit, or I'll speak a little bit more on the WAF offering that we have in the following slide. We've also seen cross-site scripting attacks as well, these XSS attacks. And these are more phishing attacks, right? So these are opportunistic attackers that are trying to get your passwords, company credit cards, so that they can actually be able to manipulate this data and to defraud you in essence. But with the WAF as well that we can introduce that, and it's able to detect and block a lot of these attacks with a lot of success. On the DNS front, we've seen that there's 4 main culprits. There's local DNS hijacking. There's DNS hijacking using a router. There's what we call a man-in-the-middle attack, and there's rogue DNS attacks. And really and truly, all of these attacks, their attempt is to try and intercept traffic between your DNS servers and to redirect you to a fake malicious website where they're able to actually steal your data or take advantage of you. But obviously, with the reputable DNS provider, you're able to protect against these and avoid. So all of these things just speak to the importance of having some level of protection, because I think all of us have seen websites that we get to and we're not sure if they're legitimate or if they're not legitimate. And part of this is some of the things that are happening on the internet, and it's important for you to safeguard yourself. And as an ISP, I feel as if it's just basic stuff that you need to have. Now, one of the solutions, like when I was speaking about the WAF protection, so with Nexusguard's DDoS WAF architecture, it's a multi-layered mitigation platform, right? So think of it as a filtering system. So from each and every single particular layer, there's inspections that are made, and these inspections are there to make sure that there isn't any attack traffic. If there's particular traffic that's inspected and picked up on the first layer, it gets dropped, and then there's more and more scrutiny as it goes down, so that the legitimate traffic and requests can go straight from the customers straight to the servers. So with this multi-layered protection, you're able to eliminate complex volumetric attacks in nanoseconds, and these could be layer 7 attacks. It also allows for you to be able to have flexibility to deploy layer 3, 4, and 7 protection as well. Individual profiling is allowed for each website as well, so you add that customizable bit to it as well. And then there's monitoring and monthly reports that I'll take you through that you can actually get. So we always try and give an SLA that says there's a 99.99% availability of your DNS servers when you use the Nexusguard WAF. I'm going to move on now to some recommendations. So when you look at all of our service offering, they're catering for different vectors of attacks, right? So as a partner or as an ISP or whatever it may be, we have what we call edge protection or network protection, which is a cloud-based offering, and this is basically protecting the prefixes that are assigned to your infrastructure, right? So you are protected, but your downstream by default can be protected, but there isn't that level of granular protection that's there. That's the reason why something like Clean Pipe would come into play. And Clean Pipe is making sure that all of your immediate downstream customers, so these are the customers that are in your network, these are the customers that would have the granular level of protection for them to be able to be protected against DDoS. So this could be your IP transit customers. This could be one of your big banks that is subscribing to quite a big link. And this Clean Pipe makes sure that your on-net customers are free of any malicious traffic that's affecting their network. When we look at the total protection, it's the 4 pillars of services. So it's your OP, your AP, or origin protection, application protection, and DP, DNS protection. And what this gives you is protection from all vectors, right? So this is protecting your clean pipe. This is protecting you as a partner, and making sure that there aren't any links that are left vulnerable from even your IP transit links as well. So this is the total protection that we recommend. Now with Nexusguard, what we're offering you is basically a cloud platform that is built into a box. So you've got the box that's deployed into your environment. You've got 24/7 monitoring that's supported by a SOC. Because it's our proprietary software that's loaded onto these particular devices, all of the new upgrades come to you firsthand. So if you look at zero-day attacks, for example, so zero-day attacks can happen in places like Russia, or places like America, or places like China. And all of these are zero-day attacks for them. But by the time that they come into your side of the world, Nexusguard has already learned how to mitigate against those attacks. And all of this is all updated in the software that is present within your boxes. There's also an app in our marketplace that allows for third-party applications to be integrated as well. So we have integrations with companies like Fortinet, AWS as well. And as obviously that grows, we'll introduce all of that within our marketplace. So all of this is what you're getting within that particular box, which allows for you to always be up to date when it comes to protecting your network. Now, these are some essential features in attack handling. So as I said earlier, we've got a lot of AI-driven DDoS detection and mitigation. So we're able to pick up on attacks and to have the next steps in mitigating and making sure that you're protected, which really helps. So there isn't a lot of human intervention that's needed in many cases. So if you have an attack at the early hours of the morning, we're able to actually deal with that particular attack using our AI intelligence. There's a multi-tenant portal that I'll take you through in the next few slides, and this covers your admin portal for you to be able to see what's going on within your network. Your customers also have a particular platform that allows for them to be able to have visibility on their network, which is quite important. There's WAF protection, which protects against your layer 7, 3 to 7 type of attacks. There's a global offload, which is from the cloud. So like I said, there's ways for you to be able to actually benchmark what size of attacks should be pushed to the cloud. If you want it to be any attack over 40 gig, you're able to actually customize that on the platform. We can offer remote DDoS monitoring, and this is sometimes not even with mitigation. So we're able to actually monitor routers or multiple sites that you may have that want to have some level of protection for you to be able to divert that particular traffic. Obviously, you get the attack alert. So every single time that an attack happens, these alerts can be sent to you via SMS or sent to you via email, so that you're actually aware that there's something that's going on, or even through your portal as well. You can also get these attack alerts. There's things like load balancing as well that helps to make sure that your traffic moves smoothly, and a managed SOC that's always there to support you and make sure that you're always up and running. This is available 24 hours, 7 days a week. So you're never left on your own whenever you're in crisis and you need to have a DDoS attack mitigated. There's also auto diversion. So in some cases, customers want their attacks to be automatically swung. In some cases, they want it to be a manual intervention. So those are some of the options that are there. And there's some reporting that you get that I'll talk about in the next following slides. And this allows for you to have the analytics of knowing what's been going on with your network throughout that particular month. There's auto traffic baselining. So this is us, making sure that we understand what's going on within your network. No two networks are the same. So we're able to actually learn your particular network and understand the type of traffic that comes in there, and what could be perceived as malicious traffic or false positives. We can also be able to allow that particular traffic to go into your network without any issues. Now, looking at a portal, this is a visual representation of the portal. So you've got the admin part, which you've got your company logo, you've got all the different custom IDs. So these could be multiple customers that you've onboarded. These customers can have an array of services. So you can have one customer that has application protection and origin protection. one that just has DNS protection. But basically what we're giving you is a bit of a simplified way of client management. So from one single location, you're able to do the provisioning of adding and removing services for your customers, the monitoring and mitigating against attacks. And obviously you're free to do this yourself, but you also have Nexusguard in the background supporting you. And we can obviously offer this from a managed protection side in doing all of the provisioning and the mitigation for you. Your customer also has visibility in seeing which IP addresses are under attack. They can see what's going on within the network when it's peacetime. So this helps in terms of giving them a dashboard where they can see what they're paying for, and also for them to be able to alert you if there's any attacks that they notice as well. Like I said, there's a monthly statement that we send out, and these are analytics that are there for you to be able to see things like the largest attacks, where the top threat countries come from. A lot of banks use this as for compliance purposes, for them to be able to send through to the management as well. So this enables you to be able to have a report on a monthly basis that you can take to your management for them to be able to understand what's been going on within the network. Now, with all of that, there's obviously the managed protection or managed services part. So, from a support perspective, Nexusguard is able to offer you maintenance and upgrade of the software, like I said earlier on. We also have a go-to-market strategy that supports your sales, pre-sales, and your product marketing team as well. So we can train them up. We can help them with webinars like these for them to advertise, or anything else that's needed for them to be able to get to their end customers. All of this is with the Nexusguard operational support in the background. So you always know that you always are going to be up and running, and you're not left to your own devices like many other service providers that just give you a bit of kit, and you need to be able to learn how to protect yourself and always upskill yourself. So Nexusguard is always there to actually give you a managed service. So because we're coming in with the managed service, our aim is to reduce the operational burn. So if you look at it from a tier 3 perspective, Nexusguard will handle the platform maintenance and support. Nexusguard, with your assistance, will also help in helping with the attack handling when an attack actually happens. And then the first tier will be yourself. So the customer support will be you. The first point of contact is yourself. So if, let's say, a customer has issues with their internet, they're going to contact you first, and you guys have a knowledge of the local languages, and you built a rapport with the customers. So that's just the portion that you would help, but that all the other tiers, Nexusguard is here to help. Now, what are the advantages of a true hybrid DDoS solution? So if you look at some of the traditional ways of mitigating against attacks, and you compare with Nexusguard's true hybrid offering, is that with volumetric attacks, that's unlimited. Application protection is included. Collateral damage control is included. The time to mitigate is also within 1 to 3 minutes. And part of the reason for that is that you've got an on-prem device that's there in real time, analyzing the traffic. So we're able to pick up on those particular attacks and to be able to mitigate against those quite quickly. When it comes to network latency, it's a lot lower, pretty much unchanged, because there's a device that's in your network that's able to start the mitigation. If you need to offload that particular traffic, it's available, obviously, with the cloud portion as well. The service portal is also integrated with the cloud and the on-prem. So unlike using different providers where you have a cloud provider and you have an on-prem provider, where you sometimes need to have different types of platforms and you're not sure if it's a cloud issue with the subscriber who offers your cloud, or is it with a subscriber that offers your on-prem. With Nexusguard, you've got a service portal that is integrated to know that all your 4 pillars of services and all the vectors of attack, all the vectors where attacks can come from, are all covered. And data integration, obviously, is also present within this particular setup. But there's more. So with traditional ISP users, DDoS is an expense, right? With Nexusguard, we look at DDoS, your DDoS spend, as an investment. So we've got many ISPs that are in a space where they have a net spend amount of 0, because they're able to actually sell services to the customers and offset the money that they're paying for the service, right? So you're able to actually make a profit in many cases, and this is something that's unique to Nexusguard. So you're probably asking me how, how can you do this, right? So with our TAP program, which stands for Transformation Alliance Program, we're able to provide, you potentially would be a Cloudflare for that particular demographic or that particular country. So with the box, you are able to have an on-prem deployment, global cloud offload. You've got the people, process, and technology to help you to make sure that you're always up and running. You can white label these services and actually sell them under your brand. You've got the multi-tenant portal as well that's present. You also have the training and implementation and ongoing support that comes. And this is all with this MX7000 box or the R60 box R650 box that you deploy. So once you've installed this, you are able to sell 11 different types of products. And these products are all from layer 3 all the way up until 7, right? So you're able to offer application services to your customers and network infrastructure customers, services to your customers as well. So if you look at some of your off-net customers, so these are customers that are outside of your network that you can actually tap into and actually sell services to. And some of your on-net customers that are your existing customers that you can offer, or whatever, web services. So you've got 11 cybersecurity services that are productized for you to be able to actually sell in your marketplace with the support of Nexusguard for you to actually make money. Now, if I look at some of these services and I look at some of the customer segments, right? So from the network layer, you've got a service like CleanPipe. CleanPipe is really for DIA customers. So when I say DIA customers, I'm talking about your downstream ISP. So these are like your transit customers, large corporates as well, and universities, government, and gaming customers. These are the segment of customers you can actually tap into. With origin protection, this is the one for your off-net customers. This is for your IP transit or multi-home. So basically, if you've got an ISP or an IP transit customer that has a link with you and a link with another service provider, you're able to offer them origin protection for you to be able to tap into that particular connection that's with the secondary provider. They obviously need to have their own Class C and AS number as well for them to be able to utilize that. But what we've seen is tier 2 ISPs and data centers that are doing a lot of hosting. These are the customer segments that you'll be tapping into. On the application layer, these are normally your hosting customers. So it could be your education type of customers with online portals, your FSI, so your banking with their apps, and your e-commerce website type of customers, your gaming customers. So these are the ones that we've seen are the customer segments that you can actually tap into and be able to have productized services that you can actually get a return on investment. And with DNS protection, it's pretty much the same. Now, if you look at some of the industries and some of the requirements that we've seen that the public sector, a lot of them, it's data sovereignty. So they're looking to have scrubbing that is within the country, right? They've got very sensitive information that they don't want to go all the way to London. The solution with Nexusguard is for us to have a local scrubbing center that's backed with our global offload for you to be able to scrub your traffic locally or their traffic locally. You've got multiple different bureaus, or if you want to call them that, or multiple different government sectors, and all of them have different requirements, right? And with our multi-tenant portal, you're able to tailor different requirements to each and every single government department. So, Ministry of Finance might have a different requirement from Ministry of Home Affairs, for example, and with our multi-tenant portal, we're able to actually offer all of these services to these customers and to be able to customize them individually with their requirements. From a banking perspective, there's a checkbox that needs to be ticked. From a compliance, from a data sovereignty perspective, you've got application protection that can help from that. In the gaming or the gambling or betting industry, a lot of these are done online. So, you've got people that are using their devices to connect to a particular server or whatever it may be. And it's from a performance and effective protection requirement perspective. So application protection or network protection is what we've seen as a solution for this. Downstream ISPs, they want to prevent link congestion. The local scrubbing actually helps in terms of scrubbing a lot faster. And data centers also want to be free of any DDoS links, and the local scrubbing can help as well. So, in summation, this really just speaks to the unique selling points of Nexusguard. We're able to protect your network. We're able to offer you an ability for you to actually get a return on your investment as well, and for you to also have full management of Nexusguard with our 15 years of experience. That's pretty much it from my end. I don't know if we can now look at some of the questions. Maybe Sharif,
Yes.
if you can
I think we have some questions, Eddie, as you said. Thank you very much. And I think Stephen can reply to these questions here to explain verbally. It's better, even though he replied on the Q&A or the chat. So
okay, so maybe let me start with the first question here, and Stephen can answer it. So Mosawa asked, what is the difference between a bits and pieces attack and a botnet? Stephen, do you wanna answer that?
Yeah, thank you, Eddie. The differences between a botnet and bits and pieces attack is a botnet is a network of bots which are compromised devices on the internet launching these attacks, and these bots are taken control by perpetrators trying to bring down a particular network. In a bits and pieces attack, these botnet are used to attack multiple IPs within a subnet, hence bringing down the network of a particular ISP or enterprise. That's the difference between botnet and bits and pieces attack. Bits and pieces are a type of attack targeting a range of IP addresses, and the attacks are smaller in size, mimicking the legitimate traffic.
Okay, great. The next question is, what is needed to be implemented on the customer side?
It really depends. Our solution is a cloud-based from Nexusguard Cloud or from a particular ISP installing our platform within their network. If it's the origin protection, it's going to protect customers' infrastructure. The requirements are net flow information from the customer's router, and also to establish GRE tunnels with BGP peering. The application protection is a reverse proxy setup to protect customers' websites or TCP applications. What we do is we map customers' back-end server IP to a virtual IP. So reverse proxy setup needs to be configured on the platform. We will share the CNAME to the customer, and they will have to change the DNS record. On the DNS protection, we will host customer zones directly on our scrubbing center, or we will do a proxy mode for recursive DNS servers, similar to how we protect the application web servers. Next question.
Okay, great. So the next question is from Nashwan. He's asked, in terms of the on-prem option, right? What is the deployment mode inside the network? Is it inline or offline? I think he means off-ramp.
Yeah, our device is deployed in an off-ramp mode where we use net flow information from the routers for detection, and GRE tunnels are established to our cloud in order to do a global offload for large volumetric attacks in a true hybrid setup. Next question.
Okay, great. I don't know if there's any other questions.
The next question, I think, is...
Yeah, your product used as UTM or firewall?
Yeah.
Yes.
Our product is not a UTM or a firewall. It is a DDoS mitigation platform. However, the application protection comes with the WAF services, and these WAF services protect the website applications against the OWASP top 10 threat. It is not a UTM or firewall. I think that's another question.
I think there's another question. How do we intercept the traffic? I think
we intercept the traffic. Once we detect there's an attack in our origin protection setup, we will do a diversion using the BGP announcement to divert the traffic over to the Nexusguard cloud, or if it's an ISP network, it will be diverted over to the ISP's network for mitigation using the BGP announcements.
Okay. Next question is what's needed? What's needed to be implemented on the customer side of the managed service?
The managed services are our SOC service. We have the SOC service covering all the different 4 pillars of services, which is the origin protection, application protection, DNS protection, and for a particular ISP with the on-prem device, it is the clean pipe protection. Our SOC will be there to assist in the implementation and also attack handling of the service of the DDoS protection.
Okay, a clarification question from Nashwan. So he said what he meant is that when it is offline, how is the protection implemented? So I think what it means is that when you're offline, how do we still mitigate against the attack?
The term we use is off-ramp, meaning it's not inline. We use net flow information from the customer's routers to detect whether there's an attack. Thresholds are being configured within the platform itself for detection purposes, and we have a few methods of detection available. Some detection modes are using machine learning and AI to assist with the baseline.
Then another question, do you mean BGP flow spec will be used in terms of protection?
It's not a BGP flow spec. We are going to divert the traffic away using the BGP route announcements through the GRE tunnels, meaning that when a customer receives an attack or an attack is detected using the platform via the net flow information, we divert the traffic over by redrawing the announcement to your upstream and announcing the prefix under attack through the GRE tunnels to Nexusguard scrubbing centers or to a particular ISP. And once we scrub the traffic using the filters, the multiple filters available, we will send the clean traffic back to the customer via the GRE tunnels.
Okay, great. I don't know if there's any more questions. Okay, so I think if there's any more questions, you guys do have access to Sharif. He'll be able to speak on some of the next steps following the webinar. Go ahead, Sharif.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you very much for this participation and all the Q&A. I think the next steps will be to discuss separately with each of you. We can have another session or a workshop to discuss more details. What are your current needs? How we can help you in mitigating all the risks of the DDoS that either you are facing now or may face. So we'll be approaching you and discussing how we can do another session in the coming weeks. Feel free to send to us any questions or queries that you may have. If you want clarifications on any parts of the presentation or on the portfolio, we'll be more than happy to assist you. شكرا جزيلا يا جماعة.
Okay, great. Okay, great. So just another question from Nashwan. So yes, we will share. Sure. We will share the slides via email. We'll also share more information as well. So we'll share that to Grand Technology, and they'll be able to send that through to you. If you do have any other questions, by all means, please send them through, and we're more than happy to answer those.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will share the presentation, the question, and more on the portfolio and services.
Perfect. If there's nothing else, I'd like to thank you, obviously, from Nexusguard's side as well for affording us the time to speak to you today. Appreciate all the questions that you've asked. It shows that you guys were listening, and it's nice to have an interactive crowd. Looking forward to one-on-one sessions with you guys, and all the best. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.